Morning, boys and girls. Happy Tuesday. A few things to talk about quick this morning. Something special that I found yesterday in the newspaper. Reading the newspaper. Yeah, I'm so old-fashioned. The mail, the newspaper. It's crazy how old I am. But anyways, I saw some of you finished your Zern. Awesome job. Good for you. Way to stick with it and not get, slow down. Just keep going through and keep working. That's great to see. Second thing, you read something. Some of you have read already day two's information. A bunch of you have not. I'm going to post days 3 stuff. It's scheduled to come out at 1 o'clock today, but I'm going to move up that time because some of you are getting done quickly. So I'll move that up a little bit for you guys. But today there's something called the shot heard around the world. And before that shot happened, we learned a little bit about Paul Revere and his famous ride. But the shot heard around the world was the first shots at Lexington and Concord, the first shots that the Americans took on the British, and it was considered the shot heard around the world because nobody would have dared or even begun to think about tangling with the British. They were simply the superpower. They had the finest weapons available at the time. They had the finest trained military. They had the most powerful naval forces at sea. It was just crazy, a suicide mission, if you will, on the Americans to go up against the British. It was just considered insane. And once the Americans did it, other countries around the world said, hey, if they can do it, maybe we can do it too. And because of us, there starts a wave of rebellions and revolutions for freedom around the world. So that's why it's called the shot heard around the world. We read about the very expensive war. It was an answer to one of your questions on your worksheets. What was the name of the expensive war? It was the French and Indian War that caused the British to put the taxes on the Americans. And this war, the French and Indian War, was really a battle for an entire continent. An amazing story we'll get into a lot of detail about next year. But I want to mention it today because in the paper I read yesterday about Old Fort Niagara, which is a really cool place, which, if everything goes well, we'll go on a field trip to next year. Up on Lake Ontario was a fort built way back during the French and Indian War. As a matter of fact, it was built about 100 years before. It became a fort 100 years before the French and Indian War. A really key spot in North America, and they have a lot of things up there, but in the paper they're doing some virtual reenactment. So they have a reenactment. I'm not exactly sure what it is because the newspaper article wasn't that long, but I'm gonna find out today, and you can find out with me. So I registered for this reenactment. You had to register. It's a Zoom meeting. So at 10 a.m. today, I'm going to go on to this virtual field trip to Fort Niagara. Now, you can come on with me. What you have to do is go to that little speech bubble with a camera on it that's in the guitar player. Up there, you'll see it. It says meet. You click on that, and you're going to join our group. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you. You won't see me, you'll see my computer screen. And on my computer screen, I'll have the virtual thing. I think this will work. It might not, boys and girls. We're going to try it. If you want to join me, you can. It's not required. Might be kind of neat. What it is a reenactment. It's from the point of view of a 10-year-old girl right before the French and Indian War is about to begin living life up in Fort Niagara. I think it could be interesting. So if you want to come on. Now the rule is, though, when you come on, you have to put on your microphone. You have to mute yourself right away because we can't have 5 people, 10 people, 15 people all talking at the same time. If you want to ask a question, there's a little chat box. You can ask a question in the chat box and I will try to answer it. I don't know if they're going to have a question and answer session. I don't really know. So come join me today at 10 if you can do that. All right. I wish I could turn this camera around, man. It is pretty. My neighbor's... Boy, oh boy. Let's see if I do this backwards over my shoulder. My pear tree is blossoming. My neighbor's magnolia tree, which is just beautiful, is blossoming every year. It's only for a couple days. it blooms, and then a wind comes and it blows all the delicate flower petals away. And the moon is up. Let's see if we can see all those things. Focus. Oh, there we go. There's my pear tree. There's, can I zoom this in? It won't let me zoom it in either. There's the magnolia tree right there. And then the moon is up high in the sky. What a nice morning. If you can join me at 10 o'clock, try to join me. Spring is trying to, warmer weather. It's spring technically, but warmer weather is trying to burst its way in. We got our beautiful pear tree with its flowers, magnolia tree. Look at that beautiful moon up in that clear blue sky. All right, maybe I'll see you at 10.